quaint town of Bradford, Pennsylvania, on the delightful morning of May the 8th, 1938, a precious 4-year-old girl named Marjorie West accompanied her family to a cherished church service. Following that, her parents opted for a charming Mother's Day picnic in the enchanting white gravel area. This idyllic spot was conveniently located only a 40-minute drive from their lovely home in Bradford. The Wests headed south on U.S. Route 219, tracking the path of an old railroad grade from Custer City to Marshburg, Pennsylvania. They entered the white gravel area after turning onto Chapel Fork Road in McKean County. Upon arrival at the white gravel area, Shirley West, Marjorie's father, decided to go fishing in the nearby stream, while Mrs. West chose to sit in the car parked along the Morrison-Marshburg Road. Marjorie and her 11-year-old sister Dorothea gathered wildflowers, possibly violets, as some accounts suggest. Dorothea later remembered that their parents had cautioned them against walking behind a large boulder near the flowers. She mentioned that despite their father and brother inspecting the area, there was still a chance that rattlesnakes might be hiding near the rock. It was precisely 3 p.m. when Dorothea decided to leave Marjorie alone for a brief moment, intending to have a private discussion with their mother. To her astonishment, when she returned, Marjorie had mysteriously vanished. The family's concern quickly escalated as they frantically combed through the surroundings, desperately hoping to find a trace of their beloved Marjorie. With no other option in sight, they hastily embarked on a journey to the nearby town of Kane, seeking any form of assistance they could find. People who were present at the West's picnic site recorded seeing 2 vehicles passing by before Marjorie disappeared. However, upon investigation, the authorities confirmed that neither of these cars had any connection to her vanishing. Initially, it was believed that Marjorie had possibly wandered off into the woods and become disoriented, or maybe someone had come across her and ensured her safety by taking her to a nearby town. When it was discovered that Marjorie was nowhere to be found, a large-scale search operation was initiated, with oil lease workers, civilian conservation corps staff, Pennsylvania State Police, and volunteers taking to the skies to help locate her. Numerous individuals scoured the forest around the clock for Marjorie for several days. There were rumors circulating about searchers stumbling upon what appeared to be a freshly dug grave deep in the woods, but it turned out to be a buried cask of wine. The news of her vanishing spread like wildfire, capturing the attention of people all over the country. In Thomas, West Virginia, a taxi driver came forward with a remarkable account. He insisted that he had spotted a tearful young girl who resembled Marjorie, dressed in clothes similar to hers, riding in a mysterious dark green sedan. The sighting occurred precisely at 11:38 p.m. on the fateful night when she went missing. The driver said that the individual said the girl was his daughter and asked the taxi driver where the nearest motel was located. The driver directed him to an establishment across the street. The man left the child in the car and went inside the hotel, but there were no vacancies. The man returned and inquired about a local liquor store. The man was told by the driver to pull over at a nearby bar. A few days later, the taxi driver recognized Marjorie as the man's passenger. An unidentified man fitting the description stopped to refuel at a gas station near Thomas, where an attendant noticed a bundle covered in a gray blanket in the back of his car. The dedicated investigators concluded that it would take around 8 hours to travel from the White Gravel area to Thomas, West Virginia, using U.S. Route 219. If the individual responsible for Marjorie's abduction took her at 3 p.m., they would have reached Thomas sometime between 11 and 11:30 p.m. on that fateful evening. Interestingly, the authorities faced a challenge in confirming the identities of both the man and the child involved in this perplexing case. On May the 12th, 1938, the Hutchinson News quoted City of Bradford Police Chief Edward Edmonds discrediting the theory, while the West Virginia State Police claimed that the man was actually a motorist, accompanied by an adopted daughter. Speculation ran wild about Marjorie's mysterious disappearance. Some gossiped about her being secretly taken to Canada by relatives, while others whispered about the unsettling idea of her being kidnapped and relocated to an unknown place. Another scenario to ponder is that she could have accidentally tumbled into one of the abandoned oil wells near White Gravel. This area was once a hub for oil drilling, leaving behind a trail of unused wells scattered throughout the landscape. Further speculation indicated that the Tennessee Children's Home Society in Memphis, Tennessee, under the management of Georgia Tan, was at the center of controversy. Tan, once celebrated for her work with at-risk children, was revealed to have abducted more than 1,200 children between 1932 and 1951. The majority of the victims were kidnapped from states bordering Tennessee, although some children were residents of Connecticut. Judge Camille Kelly granted Tan's custody requests for most of the victims. Tan placed the majority of the children with childless couples in New York City, New York, or Los Angeles, California. None of the theories have been substantiated, and no one has been linked to Marjorie's vanishing. It is quite ironic that 28 years earlier, on April the 26th, 1910, two young boys from nearby towns also disappeared without a trace. Just 11 miles from where Marjorie vanished, 7-year-old Michael Stephan disappeared while fishing in Ludlow. On that very same day, 9-year-old Edward Paul Adams disappeared about 19 miles away from White Gravel while fishing in Lamont. Unfortunately, neither boy was ever located. I would love to hear what your theories are. What do you think happened to Marjorie West?